When the Hollywood legend says Trump is the best president since Lincoln, you know the truth is leaking out in every crack in the liberal machine. You guys gotta check this video out.
Bill Maher, right? Everybody know Bill Maher, for example? He's a radical left maniac with modest television ratings. Right?
I thought I could wind up in Guantanamo Bay. I think I still could. I mean, he was ranting about me all last week again. He's obsessed sometimes. I don't know. He went on a tear for about 8 months when he was president.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Incredible things are happening. Culture is changing at light speed, and the truth shall set you free. It seems the vice grip that libs have had over popular culture is finally broken. This week, Stephen A. Smith, a progressive anchor on ESPN, arguably the most powerful anchor on all of ESPN, a guy who's planning on running for president in 2028, said he
Really quick, guys, just off that first clip of Trump, you could tell this man has nothing to hide. To go up there and speak like that, he has nothing to hide, so he's not scared. But he has everything to fight for. Everything to fight for, and that's the American people. And a lot of people on this left, they don't see that he's fighting for the true Americans. And the ones that do see it, hey, they're out to get him.
totally understands why Democrats would steal the 2020 election and how it could be done. This is remarkable. And then he goes on to blame Democrats and their psychotic hatred of President Trump for all
Yep.
of it. Amazing. But it's not just Stephen A. Smith.
If you guys think that election was rigged, I'm sorry to pause it so early. If you think that election was rigged, please hit the comment section down below. I want to see why you think that way. Don't forget to like the video also.
Who is piercing the veil of popular culture, David Mamet. Maybe you've heard of him. He's one of the most famous playwrights in the history of America. He's obviously a total legend. His IMDb is just an absolute masterclass of Hannibal. Look at this. Lake Boat Ronin, Wag the Dog, a ton of movies that he wrote, a ton of scripts that are just legendary. Hoffa, just a spectacular. The Untouchables, one of my favorites right here. That's an excellent movie. Excellent movie. Anyway, David is somebody who predicted President Trump would win the 2024 election. He's obviously a Hollywood celebrity, somebody who lives inside of the Hollywood and playwright circles. Trump was the best president since Abraham Lincoln, he says. He has been endorsed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump saying great playwright and filmmaker David Mamet. He just wrote an incredible new book. Donald Trump's been a fan of his work. Apparently, Donald Trump called him after one of his Fox News hits. Here's Mark Levin doing an interview with David Mamet. So this is just a little bit of a backgrounder here, because David Mamet was just on Bill Maher's show. And is Bill Maher's like one-on-one sort of like talk show, right, called Club Random. And they had an unbelievable exchange where David Mamet's just like, dude, the 2020 election was stolen. I guarantee it. It's incredible. Okay, here's how it started. It started with David talking about how President Trump called him after one of his hits on Bill Maher's show. Here we go.
Each book you get more right wing, I have to say. You get like the last one. I remember you were on my show, and there was like one line in it that was, and I said to you on the air, like, are you implying that Trump, that election was stolen by Biden? And you're, no, I didn't. You were kind of like hedging it, and now you're like,
well, you know what happened to me the next morning. You don't know what happened to me the next morning. I was on your show, and you said, "Are you implying that that the election was stolen?" And I was kind of iffy on it. Right, next morning, 8 o'clock, the phone rings. The woman on the phone says, "Mr. Mamet, will you hold for the president?" I said, "Wait a second, Biden is calling. It's Trump. It's during the Biden administration." And he says, "David, it's Donald Trump." I say, Mr. President, thank you for calling. To what do I owe the honor? He said, "I saw you on Bill Maher yesterday. You were great." He said, "But you wussed out on the question of the stolen election." And then he talked to me for like 20 minutes about how the election was stolen.
But it wasn't.
Well, I think it was.
Then it got to
Trump doesn't sugarcoat, guys. He says what millions of other people were thinking. You know, we all watched it get stolen in real time. I don't know why everybody's acting like that's a joke.
Trump not conceding the 2020 election, which still, of course, triggers Bill Maher. And little Bill Maher threw a fit, but David Mamet said, "Oh no, they definitely stole the 2020 election. I believe it."
When last we spoke several years ago, You were stuck on this issue. You're still stuck on it. How come?
Because it's not been resolved.
So how? Wait. What is it that hasn't been resolved?
The asymmetry of American elections. The fact that if one party, the Republican Party, wins the election, the other party goes, okay, you win some, you lose some, and they go home.
So
Hillary
how
Clinton
the
went home. Kamala Harris went home.
Yeah.
You can't imagine Trump ever going home. If he had lost
Excuse me. Excuse me. Now, what you're doing is injecting metaphysics into what might be a matter of. So, is the question? The question is not what he did. The question is not even what he might do. What you've just said is one can't imagine what he would do. But on the other hand,
no, I can. I don't have to imagine.
So that right there is really good, guys, because I want to ask you, what are you thinking? Because I think it was a pivotal time for Trump to win that election when when he was fighting Hillary Clinton and he ended up winning. It's Kamala Harris. It was a pivotal time. You know, sometimes there's some gap years where you could put a Democrat in there. No one wants that. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm speaking for the people in the back. No one wants a Democrat in the office. But it was a very pivotal time for Trump to get in there, and they rigged it so bad. You know, and Americans are still stuck on it because it's like you got robbed and the cameras were rolling. Everybody's seen you get robbed. The guy is still out on the loose, right? And there's been no arrest. And you know what everybody thinks? What if the guy comes back? What if the guy thinks I saw his face? You know, everybody's thinking that. You know, we got robbed. The American people got robbed. Let's keep going.
Imagine what he did in 2020, which was never concede the election. I'm not even
dude, he didn't have to concede the election. He lost. If somebody is beaten in a prize fight and the other guy gets the belt, the person who's beaten does not have to concede. It's not necessary. He's lost.
Well, it is necessary. The analogy falls down because that if a prize fighter loses, it doesn't inspire people to riot.
How did he inspire people to riot?
By not conceding the election.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
What?
Come on. So wait a second. He didn't say the words "I concede," and so that meant people rioted?
Yes. What do you think January 6th was
What
about?
do you think January 6th was?
It was about people who did not hear their leaders say, as every other leader in this country has said after an election, okay, I lost. We welcome the new guy. We had disagreements, but now we're all Americans. When Obama took over, George Bush stood next to him and he said, we want you to succeed because when you succeed, Trump didn't do any of that.
Okay. So what?
Well, so what? It inspires half the country to not accept the basic democratic principle that we have elections, and when you lose, you go away, and then you become the loyal opposition. They don't see themselves as the loyal.
You like me have built a career out of nothing except talent and a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, but you're full of shit. What I don't understand when you say that he did not say the words "I concede" caused half the country, which you just said, to riot.
No, I didn't say half the country rioted. A lot of people rioted, and it was less than half the country because he got less than half the votes and still won. That's okay. That's our system. But a good deal of the country, approaching half.
The two clash over the 2020 election. Bill Maher tries to get down into the details, and so does David Mamet. Just leave it to the playwright to know what he's talking about here. Go.
They've adjudicated this. They've looked at this. Republicans have looked at this. It was tested in court like 60 times. It was thrown out every time. Trump's own commission, appointed by his own commissioners to look at the election, the cybersecurity commission, it's called, or agency. There's two of them. One of them is within the Department of Homeland Security. They all said the same thing. It was the most fair, honest election we've ever had.
No, I'm not talking about the votes. I'm not talking about counting the votes. That the Hunter Biden laptop was suppressed, the COVID information was suppressed. The Zuckerberg said himself that the White House pressured him not to bring.
Exactly. That right there alone is election interference, right? If you silence the truth before the election, that's rigging the game before it even starts. They suppress so much information about these people that they wanted in office. It's insane, right? Let's keep watching, man, because this gets deeper.
Forward the information on the laptop. Rasmussen said, had that come out, there would have been a 17-point spread.
Oh, please. That's so ridiculous. Those things are true. And they did suppress the Hunter Biden. The press did do that. I've said this many times myself, and COVID. Nobody was more out there about fuck you on, we weren't allowed to hear about what we wanted to hear about COVID than I was. But would it have swung the election? Every election, some things are suppressed. It's not a very fair game, politics.
And Bill Maher still proves that he's a Russiagator, which is incredibly sad, right? I thought Bill Maher was kind of coming around. He had dinner at the White House with Trump, but here we go.
He certainly invited another country to do things, and they took advantage of it. Of course,
How?
would it have made a difference? I don't know.
How did they take advantage of it?
Well, Trump's campaign manager was sharing polling data with a GRU agent.
Maybe.
How is
Well,
that?
okay, that's something that I mean, even
That's the first
even
I've
Nixon
heard.
didn't do that.
Wait, that's the first that I've heard. A, and B, if it's true, and I'm not saying that it is, how did that influence the election?
Well, we know that Russia would put things on the internet that weren't true just to get people fighting, you know, that kind of stuff.
Like what?
You know, they would say like, you know, the Pope they would put up some meme about, you know, the Pope is backing Trump. It wasn't true, but people believed it and they just started fight over it.
This is going insanely viral and is just like another massive white pill in culture when you have the most famous scriptwriter, screenwriter, playwright in all like in living history going on and explaining thoughtfully, thoroughly, wisely, educated from an elite consensus perspective. I mean, he's even wearing the hat that President Trump had the election stolen from him. Man, boys, are we back?
They tried to cancel Trump, guys, but now the elites are quoting him. You can't really silence truth, you just make it louder. And if you're still doubting the 2020 election, you're not on the smart side of history. Let me know what you guys think about this video, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and as always, let me know what to react to. We're out.